In the middle of this, the last days of his Dalit, he's explaining that the kavanah is to bring Yochid into Echad. The Yochid is the matzav Pashat before his Sabbath Eilumas. For the Eibishter, it doesn't change. As explained, that Eilumas for the Eibishter is no difference in their emergence, but pale, as compared to as they are in Aliyah Sarotzen, and even higher than Aliyah Sarotzen, in Shem Olekim, Lifnei HaTzimtzum, which is the Kerech HaGvul. And it's that truth that we want to bring in post-creation, which is reflected by Echad. How is that possible? There's a Tzimtzum. So he said, because the Tzimtzum, notwithstanding the Tzimtzum, the Eid is rooted Lifnei HaTzimtzum. And therefore it carries latently that truth. Now it's being masbir, not only the Eid, but the Keli. That's where we're up to. And the reason for that is because the Keli ultimately also is rooted Lifnei HaTzimtzum and Shem Elikim Lifnei HaTzimtzum, which means the Kerech HaGvul, which is the Shleimus of Ein Sof. So even the Keli carries that truth. The Eibishter Shleimus is that he can express himself and contains not just Kerech HaGvul, but Kerech HaGvul. So after the words V'kivan, in the middle of the Ois, second last word of the line, the number 51 will be the footnote of that line. V'kivan shekol mitzius mitzad Kerech HaGvul shebein sof. So since the truth is the pnimis, the emissary in Yonim, the whole mitzius of Kelim is because of the Kerech HaGvul. It's not something else. There is no other. Therefore, even the Keli is bets and bottle. Ella shabitl ba'ifin shall head at tfisis makim. The bitl of the Keli is in such a way that it has in its insignificance. Like we said before about the marshal of the Neder. That I'm Neder, the Keshaheder Yemufer, then the Neder itself, its own Metzius is not Neder, as we explained in yesterday's shir. Even though there is the Keli, they have no significance. Another Moshe, small chacham relative to big chacham, shein medabel in front of him, battle in front of the Gambri. He wouldn't dare speak in front of him. And he loses his whole sense of self. He is something. In the face of true chachma, so likewise, the Keli is completely, when this truth is revealed, or mitzad Eibishter's perspective, Das Elyon, the truth is that the Keli is completely a bottle of mitzias. The Oid is Megala. Oiba is Megala, the Eibishter. And Keli, the Kerech HaGvul, the consequence of Kerech HaGvul is the lack of mitzias of anything else.
It seems to be from the perspective of the Keli too.
Yeah, that's despite the Keli. So despite you're Megala, the Shleimus of Ein Sof, that he has the Shleimus of Kerech HaGvul. But how does it manifest in the consciousness of, as it were, of the Keli? Complete bittul, head of tfisis makim. Whereas Oyer, on some level, is expressive. Oyer is expressive. Oyer is saying kind of what the Eibishter is. And the Keli says, man, there's nothing else. But he doesn't even say it. It's just some Metzius expresses that. Now he says as follows. And therefore there's a maila in the bitl of the Keli over the bitl of the Eid, which expresses the truth of God in a revealed way. even what the Chiddush is, because they were created as a Metzias, and still the bottle. It isn't such a Chiddush that the Oid carries through the truth of Ein Ad Milvado. The Chiddush is the Keli that actually emerged, that says Ein Ad Milvado. That's a bigger Chiddush. Clear? Yeah. Concluding with that, in the Echad, and that's why the Dik is Shema Yisrael Havai Elokeinu Havai Echad, not Havai Yochid. Because you want to bring out Shayichad and Shemitzad Oilams. That this truth is also declared by creation. Shayichad Agam, the B'chinas HaMetzios, that this unity is true, this oneness, notwithstanding creation, Metzios, existence. So this is really Das Elyon permeating Das Tachten. So this becomes the memutze, which is explained. You see the next verse in great detail. The intermediary to the yichud from the perspective of Vod, which is Das Tachten. As you said before, Vod, Echad B'Chadofi Asvan, they are, one is like the alter ego of the other, as we explained in the couple of shiurim ago, because Vod and Echad, the Dal remains the same, but the Aleph and the Ches are connected. Ches and Ayin are Gadol letters, and Aleph and Vav is the Hemshech. And therefore they can be exchanged, according to the same grouping. So Echad manifests in Vod because Echad is the memutze to the bittul of Vod, which is a lower bittul, bittul yesh. But Echad is the memutze, it's not Yachid. It's already acknowledging Metzius, and therefore it inspires and allows for the bittul of bittul yesh. Hainu, Shamshachas ha'ichud b'b'chinas ha'metzius, expressing this yichud, which is what Echad does in post-creation. Nas memutz lamshachas ha'ichud gam b'biyah. That's Atzilus. Today we're talking about Atzilus, as we explained. So this now, Atzilus becomes the memutze, that this yichud should be felt and declared even by Biyah. But in the way of Bitla Yesh, but still, Bitla Yesh is the same way as Mamash. Here we're sitting here in the Ilam Haza, not, we're talking Bitla Yesh, not holding Bitla Yesh. We're saying the Oisias of Yichud Ilah. So Biyah, even Biyah becomes the Keli to declare this truth because of the Memutz of Atzilus. Like we say every Friday night, paralleling those that unite above in one. So too she, is referring to Malchut Atzilus, but Biyah really is united in the mystery of oneness. So there's the parallel oneness. The oneness expressed in Atzilus, that's Le'ela, and then the Sata also Baroza De'echad. Gam Shirak Baroza De'echad, even though it's only, the Kveshi is the Roza De'echad. If you notice that when he speaks Lamayla, it says Be'echad, not Baroza De'echad. He speaks to the Sata, Baroza De'echad. The mystery, implying in Pashtus, it's quite mysterious. All things are mysteries. We are a Metzias, and we're not a Metzias. Nonetheless, it parallels. The truth is being declared. Not in the same way as it's felt in Atzilus, but nonetheless, Bitla Yesh Das Tacht. Now to explain this further, this Memutze, namely Atzilus, or the Bitl of Echad. So he's saying now there's Yochid, Echad, and Voed, right? He's saying that Echad is the Memutze between Yochid and Voed. So it's going to be Mazbi now further. Let's begin. Sin Marba Kemis is sending us to Imri Bila and Ayin Base. I mean, it's just that the deepest tracts in Chassidus. Tzad HaSkola. To understand the intermediary property of Echad between Yochid and Voed, Yuvam Gamba is the Tevis Echad. Understand this by looking at the letters of the word Echad. Yeah, Aleph Ches Dalet. Hine is Aleph from a Mutza. To begin with, the letter Aleph is a Mutza. As explained in the Siddur, he talks about Tkiyas, the Alter Rebbe, die wir Maschel in Tkiyas Shofar, Rabbi Akavan Sabah Shem Tov Zal, which about Tkiyas supposed to learn. Supposed to learn this. To understand that the Kavanas, in Tkiyas Shofar, in light of the Kavanas, is articulated by the Baal Shem Tov. So there he says, Shois Aleph Amamutza, the letter Aleph is the intermediary between Kol and Dibur, between a simple, unarticulated sound and speech. The sound that comes from literally the breath of the heart is not differentiated. It's a simple Kol. But speech is already division, differentiation. They're opposite, simple and articulated and differentiated. So therefore, how do you go from Poshet to Ischalkus? From Shitos to Ischalkus, there's a Memutze. There has to be a Memutze, an intermediary. What's the inyan of a Memutze? Shamamutze kolul ma'elyon v'atachtan. A Memutze must embrace properties of the Elyon and the Tachtan to serve as a Memutze between the two. And he'll get back to the Aleph and explain how that works. But first the Moshel. Moshel of Rav and Talmud. She'einam be'erech as they were talking about the Rav and Talmud that are completely incomparable. Not your classic teacher-student, but the Rav and Talmud. She'sorech lis and mutze b'neihem that there needs to be an intermediate. That's the translator. She'kolum b'shneihem, that's in both worlds. He's in the world of, he understands what the Rav is saying, and he's also in the world of the Talmud, and therefore he can successfully articulate the Seichel to the Talmud. Going back to Aleph, Mutze ben Kel v'Dibur is Aleph. So the Mutze between Kel and Dibur is Aleph. Shari kol havorat chiloso, is Aleph. Every sound, every expression starts with Aleph. If you should avoid hamidli without it being filled with a particular sound. So that's the answer. Why is it a memutza? Because it's not the hevel halev, it's already a sound, but a potential sound kind of. Then can be stretched to express in whatever way. So what is this lamayla? Is aleph lamayla v'b'chinas hakeser. Before I said it's Bechlal, it's Atzilus, but I'm going more Bepratis. So it's Keser, Shemamutza ben HaMaitzel, Atzilus. That Keser is the Memutza between the Maitzel, the source, the emanator, literally, Atzilus to that which is emanated. And then he says, Bemis, no. That's very Bechlolus. But Bepratis, even Keser is still in the world of the Maitzel. It's not the true Memutza. So we'll see what it is. Kes is not the true Memutze. Why? Surely it's at the level of Atik, it's completely removed and separate from Eilim. That's what's meant by ancient of days. Ancient means way back. Completely Ataka removed and separated. And even there's another Piddish in Atik, which is to not remove, but move. Move from one place to another. Like it says in Pasuk, Tiku that Anshich, the people of Chizkiah, they copied the teachings of Shlomo Melech and retaught them and so on. And under Chizkiah, it was actually the greatest. The Yidden were at the highest level of education, period. Time of Chizkiah. Children, the entire country, the Gemara says, were well versed in Torah, even the complexities of Torah. And so the Mishalim of Shlomo Melech were copied by Anshe Chizkiah and taught, etc. Anyway, the point being, it's copied from here to here. So that doesn't imply removal. Answer, it does. In what sense? What it's saying is, it's a copy. It's a copy of, from here to there, from Ein Sof, higher than Kesser. So in both Pirushim of the word Atik, we understand that Atik is not a Memutza. Atik is still bound up with the alien. So this is, of course, higher than Memutza. What about Arich? The low level of Kesser, also not. Also not a Memutza between Ein Sof and Eilos. What's the parallel of Arich within the person? It's a Rotzen. And what's a Rotzen? By the definition, it's not Shaykhs to Pnimius. It's a Makiv Dika'inyan. So it's Makiv, as we see in Rotzen down here, not given to rationale at all. So therefore we understand that likewise Arich, which is the Rotzen Elyon, not as you spoke before, Aliyas HaRotzen. I'm not talking that. That's already a much more sublime level. But it manifested Rotzen, but nonetheless it's still Makiv, it's still a Rotzen, and therefore it came to Lamari Mishtalshalas Vein Memutza, and therefore even Arich is not a Memutza. So what's the Memutza between Elyon and Tacht and Ein Sof and Eilemus? Not Kesser. What's the point? The whole point of learning all of this is when I get to such subtleties. You just say "B'chlotz the Inyan." We'll get the point. Summarize it and get the point. No, what's the reason I'm asking you? What's the whole reason for Chassidus taking us on these intricate and subtle and profound journeys into the intricacies of Elikus? But at the end of the day, anyway, it's ideas and mitzias. We're not seeing it, not feeling it. What's the point of it all? Yeah. The Ibishas, I manifested all of this because I want you to know it. And moreover, you have the same parallel within your human soul. And so therefore we have a connection, an intimate meeting of understanding each other. All right, we'll go further. So what's Chachmas Tima? So Chachmas Tima, he says, not Chachma, manifested Chachma. Chachmas Tima, which means hidden Chachma. Sheklulim and Elyon and Atachten. So this is the level, as he'll now explain, is the middle point between Elyon and Atachten, within the Nefesh. The Maila, unlike us in the Nefesh, as he will now demonstrate, and therefore be able to have an understanding, an inkling of the Maila. It's Lamata because that's the way it is the Maila. So how is it Lamata? What's Chachmas Tima Nefesh Adam? It's the Koyach HaMaskil. The Koyach HaMaskil is the faculty that can conceive. It's not the state of the conception of a seichel. It's the potential. Yuli is actually a Greek word. The Chassidus uses. It's an undifferentiated state, potential of matter. I don't mean here physical matter, I mean here nefesh, but it's the same meaning. It means that it's the state, it's the koyach of in the nefesh that can conceive of ideas. In the koyach hamaskil, we call it mitzvah shebeseichel. The koyach hamaskil itself is completely removed from an actual articulated idea. It's potential for all conceptions. It's the raw matter, the ruchnius of the ability to conceive. That if it was expressed in a particular way in the hayuli, it's no longer the yuli, which is the pure, undefined matter. We mean here not matter gashmi. It also exists begashmi. Physics works the same way. But we mean here in the nefesh. But it's undefined. But it's a memutza because it's a koyach hamaskil. Not talking the etzem nefesh. It's not completely removed from the world of seichel. What is it? That's what it produces. It's a klolasin of seichel. It's a yuli for seichel, not for something else. It's not a pure potential for anything. It's that faculty, the nefesh, that is the potential for conception of ideas. That is an appropriate memutza. That's what's meant by memutza. The memutza between that and etzem nefesh.
How is that less makif than the Ratz? I understand how it's more connected to the seichel, but the Ratz would seem more connected to like the Poyel Mamish. The Ratz has like a more of a definition of what's going to result at the end.
Yeah, but the Ratz could be anything. What's the Ratz? It's not limited to anything. This is Mamish seichel. Your faculty of intellect, the Ratz is completely divorced.
But there's that's a koyach Ratz. But there's also a
no, even the manifested Ratz, as it is the Maila, it's a pure I will. What? I don't know. The emphasis, to answer your question more directly. Pure Ratz is I want to be. So that can, it's just what, and I want expression. I want to be mispashet. It's actually absolutely no definition there as to what. And then, because the reality is, this morning like this, now I want to be lazy, now whatever, endless hispashtus. The good is the zich, the Ratzon himself, it's not bound to particular expression. Can't peg it on something. At endless expressions of the human condition. Because the Keich HaMaskil is only seichel, it's nothing else. That's what true Ratzon is. True Ratzon is I want to express myself. Tainig is I am.
So how it manifests itself is only after the filter of all the Keichos.
Yeah, because the nefesh has been put into this structure, so it's going to be in all of those things. But if you look at the Ratzon, I want to mispashet, you will not find anything there. So whatever and everything. Don't bother me with only this. I don't mean only, it's mean everything. But seichel, keich hamaskil is seichel. It's nothing else. No, there's no other world there. It's the keich hayuli for the world of seichel.
Can you say it's morkiv? Keich seichel. No, I've been here the whole time. Yeah. Do we say keich haseichel, keich hamaskil is morkiv? Meaning keich hamaskil is morkiv because that's going to produce only seichel, but koyach hayuli is built to morkav. It can express anything.
He's saying the koyach hamaskil is the koyach hayuli of seichel. Yuli is relative.
Okay.
It's the koyach hayuli of seichel. So morkav means a composite. It's not or a graft, literally. It's not a composite. It's the pure faculty of the nefesh to understand whatever. So there's no mitzias of a particular idea, but it is a memutza. It's not a pure yuli. It's a yuli only for seichel. That's why it's a memutza for the world of seichel.
So it is morkiv. Koyach hamaskil is morkiv only for seichel.
I don't know what you mean by the word morkiv.
I'm just saying. It's only a potential for seichel. It's not a potential for a physical action.
So the word murkav, all right. So the word murkav is throwing us. The word murkav means a graft, a composite. it's a she's saying so therefore it is a mamutza between the nefesh, pure nefesh, and seichel itself, which is full. So further, v'lochein hu mamutza, after the words v'chein yuli the seichel, v'lochein mamutza shekolol min elyon min hatachta. So therefore, the Chachma Stima is the appropriate model from a mutz between the Elyon and Tachta. How so? The two properties. On the one hand, it's not bound. They don't find any particular idea at that level. Produces them, but it itself is completely beyond a particular idea. So therefore, it's Shaykh Elyon. In that sense, it belongs to the Elyon, to the Pshitu, so that's a Nefesh. On the other hand, it's a get that Inyan HaSeichel. It's a get that Inyan HaSeichel. It's a Yuli for Seichel, not anything else. Harihu Shaykh Latachten. So it has its foot also, as it were, it has property that is Shaykh to the world of the Tach. But the Meturgeman between the Rav and the Tam. Now back to the Aleph. For to explain why Echad is a mutz between Yochad and Void. Aleph Take goes on Chachma Stima. It's just interesting, why? So why didn't the Rabbi just start with this? What's the answer? Why talk about Keser? Pnimis HaKeser, Atik and Narach, Mishoyelit. Pardon?
Precise about what we're not talking about too. We have to be precise about what we're not talking about.
Yeah, it makes our understanding of Mamutza much clearer, and the subtlety of Elyon. That Elyon is not just Etzem HaNefesh, but Koyach Makif and Keser is also relative to Tachten, also pure Elyon. It's all the whole thinking Chassidus has many dimensions to thinking Chassidus, but a huge component of it is the subtlety. The more the intimate the understanding, the more the intimate the connection. It's the point of it all. So the is Aleph, yes, Chachma Stima. So Aleph goes on Chachma Stima. The Pirish Aleph from Melosha Aleph Chachma. I will teach you Chachma. Sholoshin Osid. Just in Diyak here. I will teach in the future. Kidu ben Yenois Aleph the Shem Eke, as it's known with respect to the name Aleph, the letter Aleph. In the name, the Hashem says, Eker Asher Eker, I'll be, that which I will be. Sometimes it's translated, I am that I am, but the emphasis I will be. Shemeir ala Osid, that the Aleph in front of it makes the word future. V'haino, Shemeyoisel, meaning to say, it itself is not Seichel. It'll produce it. Comes from it, the future. Haino Shemeyoisel, the Ma'ilem Chachma Gluya. The level of Aleph itself is higher than manifested Chachma, the manifested Seichel. Seichel being in parallel the Nefesh Adam. Shari Abba Yonik Mimazla. Because Abba draws to the level of Mazla. Meaning Shamshachas HaChachma Gluya Mechachma Stima, that manifested Chachma Stima, Orak HaOrah Ha'orah. Abba means it's manifested Chachma, and Mazel means is the source, Chachma Stima, and Yonik means nourishes, means in a very, very small way. There's only a small, right? You got this? Only a small ha'orah that goes from Mazel, which is Chachma Stima, to Abba to Chachma. There's a big gulf. Which is Amshach B'derech Dilug v'hefsek etzem akol goyles, and to go from Chachma Stima to manifest in Chachma, it's B'derech Dilug. There's this jump and there's this interruption. The skull, Shinyan HaSidus, and the Sidus which emerge from the skull, Sidus goes on Chachma. However, so it's a big, gulf between the Mokkeh, Chachma Stima and Chachma, but still, nonetheless, it is the traceable connection, and it doesn't produce anything else other than Chachma. You follow? So it's the Mamutz. Even though what it produces is far, relatively speaking, far removed from what it is, a particular idea. One particular idea, the Keich HaMaskil can produce endless ideas and endless, relatively speaking, endless depth. And a particular idea is just a side. It's like a hair that's rooted in the Chach, in the Mayach, through the Hefsek of the Galgalta. But still, nonetheless, it produces it. And that's why Aleph is Veloshin Asid. Asid means you can't pin it as I'll teach you Chachma. So the end is teaching Chachma. But the Aleph itself is not the Chachma. It's the producer of it. I'll teach you. Who's the I? Alefcha is higher than Chachma Gluya. Chachma Stima, again, the parallel is Keich HaMaskil. For Lashon Asid, and therefore the Aleph is in Lashon Asid. She'asid, at least in Men Chachma Gluya. I'm looking at the time, it's constantly 25. Oh, it is right now, it's a reflection. I'm not saying Pashat right now. I'm seeing 25 to 6, good, Lachaya. Should at least in Men Chachma Gluya, that from Chachma Stima, it will produce Chachma Gluya, although it is beyond it, and therefore it serves as the Memutza. Now he goes on to say, we see this also in the picture, the way the Aleph is drawn. Let's have a look. How's the Aleph should be seen the base? There's two strokes and a line in between. And the upper stroke of the Aleph made al Shirish Achach Mestimo, that's the Shirish. The source, the Gemara says, "Benefesh," as we're saying, "Keich Seichel Hayuli Atzmi, Keich HaMaskil Shom Mushlimi and Seichel Hagamri." The deed itself is removed from a particular Seichel. Now, he adds a diak here. Actually, I was wondering, it's like he spoke about Keich HaMaskil, but now he added a layer here, deeper the Keich HaMaskil, Keich HaSeichel, Keich Seichel Hayuli Atzmi, which is within Keich HaMaskil, Gufa, deeper. This is deeper than the Keich HaMaskil, one level below, one core level below, but it's still part of the whole Geder, still within the Geder. Keich HaMaskil is removed from what? From a particular idea. Going one level lower, the potential is even more transcendent or less bound. If you look there, if you look in Keich HaMaskil, you're going to say, well, this is a producer of ideas. What ideas? No way to limit it. The producer of ideas. But if you go to the what he calls here, go deeper, Seichel Yulia Atzmi, then it's completely mushlo. But since the nefesh can express itself in all kinds of shleimus ways, why the shleimus? Because God decides that they're shleimus. So yesh begam shleimus the seichel. Aval adayin ein begeder shel seichel klal. So the connection between the Keich HaMaskil and this essential core level is from its lowest level, as it were. That's what we mean by the upper stroke. Okay, I'm going to just say the words, and we're going to revisit this tomorrow. It's the lowest, most externally means to say. The most external nekuda from the Keich HaYuli Atzmi. Okay, we're going to use a Moshe Rav and Talmud. Let's revisit this tomorrow. Very, very subtle and profound.